FX presents the Indu Podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indubians. I'm T. Sterling Watson. This is the Indu Podcast, where morning drive time meets late night talk show, and we aim to entertain, enlighten, and provide an auditory escape with knowledge and nonsense. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. I am looking for Kortney out there. Well, she says she's here. I see her, but I don't hear her. I don't know where she is. But she's here. Hopefully, okay. There, we've got a call in. Hello, Kortney. You're on the air.
Woo! I'm here.
There you are. Wondering what was happening.
Yeah, I'm here. I've been here. I just didn't. It's weird.
It is, but by the way, this is a brand new setup. We've never used PodBean live before, so that's why I had all that music playing in the background, and I actually had my whole thing on mute, so I couldn't even hear it until I unmuted it. So that was weird. But as I was saying, I don't have access, or I can't play my normal like audio effects or my regular theme song, so I probably may edit this for maybe I might edit it and add all my usual stuff in there later. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But you're here, so that's what matters. And I also I have a list here. I see that Ashley is also here. How are you doing, Ashley? I know you can't do anything right now, but you can also chat in the box too. You can do that. But we're going to go ahead and not continue to get started because we already started. We're here. So, how are you, Kortney?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm great. I'm energized. I'd had a nap. I'm good to go. Had a tasty orange pineapple beverage that gives me a little bit of energy. So, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Nice.
The weather is terrible, but I know we tend to talk about the weather a lot here. So, yeah. We've got that old-fashioned New England-ness here with an ice storm. I know that's your favorite because you get those on occasion.
Yes.
Yeah. So after work, because yes, we still go to work. We still have to do our thing because we're New Englanders. After work, I had to break my car out of the ice sculpture that it was in. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, a car behind me, a van rather, he saw me walking to my car. I was like, "Hey, you about to leave?" I'm like, "Yeah," because he wanted my space. So he sat and waited for a half an hour until I was done getting
half an hour is how long it took you to defrost.
I mean, I rounded up from like 22 minutes, but yeah, pretty much.
Still much too long.
Much too long, yes. And it started with first just, I'm so glad I have a remote starter because that helped, thaw the car a little bit from the inside out. But, I had to go chip all the, the windows and the mirrors and, of course, the door so I can get in. So good times.
Ugh, gross.
I know. Next time I'm just going to pay, I think it might be like $10 just to go park in the garage just for the day.
Yeah.
So
that might be worth it.
Might be. And then I later learned that I could actually get like a special pass to park in the garage all the time. Just it costs, I think, maybe like $15 every paycheck. Maybe. I don't know. I have to look into that. Might be worth it.
Especially for the winter time, might be worth it.
Might be. So you got a new phone.
Woo! I sure did.
You are all elite and special now. I got the iPhone 12, is it?
11.
11. Oh, okay. So it's up there.
Yeah, it's the latest version. And apparently it's like the latest version because it dropped in maybe September or so, late September. I didn't even realize it was that new. So I'm pretty impressed with myself right now.
And feeling pretty fancy too?
I'm feeling super fancy. You literally can tell me nothing.
I know, you're living your best life and taking the best pictures, probably already filling it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know.
It's amazing.
Well, what I will tell you, this podcast is not brought to you by Nivea. That's it. Lotion. Nivea for men. This podcast is not brought to you by them. I'm going to tell you why. Okay. This lotion is apparently, I guess, for men's skin or something, and it's got this smell. It just smells like men, but like men that take care of themselves, I suppose, that have bathed and put on some generic cologne, and the cologne is like spelled like cologne, like all the what are they? Accent marks over them. So that's how basic like it may smell. I don't care for it. It not moisturize the skin, but for the rest of the day, I feel like I just smell like some generic man, and I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, well, I mean, like a good smelling man, but just regular.
I was about to say, does generic man smell bad, or what?
No.
What does this mean for you?
For me, it just means I kind of blend into the crowd a bit more. I smell the smell everywhere. If I'm like, walking in a crowd and then you smell maybe, a guy who maybe has a little bit too much like smell goods on, just a little bit. I don't know. It's the scent that says on the bottle. It says it's sea minerals. So I guess maybe I smell like a man that has come out of the sea. I don't know, but I mean, it's not called Aquaman, so.
Man.
Yeah, perhaps. Man. Right, be careful.
Right, or merman is better.
Perhaps, yes. But even then, I almost thought it makes it sound like you smell fishy, but not fishy. Just,
oh, that's true.
Yeah, but that is a lotion that is not brought to you by. Well, we are brought to you by Wink, Acorns, and Stash. They don't actually sponsor this podcast, but I do have what's the word? Offer codes, I suppose. I can get you some stuff, and if you do that, you'll be supporting me, except for Wink. I actually have a couple boxes of free wine, so that should entice some people to, I don't know, get some wine. Because, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. There's nothing I can do with it. It's for me to give out to people, so I will give that out later.
Can you not redeem these yourself?
I don't think so. Like, I would have to set up, like, dummy accounts and then have them shipped to that address. Yeah. And not only that, I would still have to pay for like shipping and handling, which isn't a big deal. It's, it is what it is. It's a lot
of work though.
It is more work than I want to do. That's why I'm giving them away to people. So, they can, get some wine on me. And I mean, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't good, because it was good. So we're going to move on, and normally I would play my Black History Fact little intro right here, because I just want to get into that. And what I actually want to do is just read something we talked about earlier this year, and it's been in the news, literally was on the news before, maybe an hour before we even started, like, doing this. So I'm like, okay, that's it. We're talking about it. And that's basically revisiting the Tulsa massacre, because it was on the news today where they talked about the mass grave discovery, although they're not saying it's official, we're going to go ahead and say it's official. Like, they found it, because it's got to be somewhere of mass amounts of people. I think between like 200 and 300 people that were killed during the 1921 massacre that happened in Tulsa. And it's really interesting how all of this news came to be, like, from the time that we talked about it a couple months ago to seeing it unfold, like visualized on Watchmen on HBO. And it's like there's not just a renewed interest, but definitely an awareness, an awakening to what has happened, and people that didn't even know that this has happened or it was a real thing, because for some people, seeing it on Watchmen was the very first time they've ever heard it. Yeah. And that's crazy. But then again, this is America, and we tend to, when it comes to like history taught in school, they will choose and pick what it is that they'll actually teach us. So It's kind of sad. It is sad, not even kind of sad, but it is sad.
Yeah.
They spoke with a woman on the news very briefly. The name that they use, I was really trying to look up, see if I could find her, but I heard them say Lassa Randall. I couldn't find such a person, but the person we talked about was Olivia Hooker, who, according to the articles that we used, she was like the last living survivor. So I just want to make reference to her again, and the ages kind of match up to who the woman they were talking about, who is 105. So Olivia Hooker, who is still alive, should be around 105, although the last one I saw said 103, but that article was a couple years ago, blah, blah, blah. But just talking about how she had seen like many just dead bodies around, and just how horrible it was. And there's more accounts, more people who have passed history based on their grandparents telling about it. So there are other articles out there, but I was mostly just trying to find this same person in this news piece. So, but yes, but again, if you want to go back and hear us talk about it along with LeBlack Creative, because she came on she basically did a whole research thing. I think she even wrote something too, which I will have to get from her. And I think she tweeted it recently to go back and post that somewhere. But do go back. I forget what episode number that is, but it's also on the Patreon where we talk about it for like a whole hour, I think, and some change. So it's some good stuff there. But we will get into the meaty chunks of what this episode is all about, which is 2019, some of the best things that we have come across and enjoyed. And did you break anything up into categories such as movies, music, TV, blah, blah, blah?
No, because in true Kortney fashion, I just kind of think of it all in not quite that broken down. I just think of the effect it had on me, but I did not categorize it. You didn't say to categorize it.
I know. I didn't actually tell you that. It was something that came not necessarily spur of the moment, but even as I was writing stuff down, okay, let me first start with my favorite movies, or not even favorite movies. I actually started with Watchmen because as I was writing down the rundown, I'm like, well, let me start my list here. And I talked about Tulsa, and let me talk about Watchmen, because for me, and this is just kicking off the list, Watchmen on HBO has been one of the best things I've seen this year on any kind of media platform.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Just a perfect season. And I will say that I have listened to the official Watchmen podcast, and David Lindelof himself has said that he, at this point, has no plans of doing a second season because he doesn't have the story. And I'm actually okay with that. And there's a lot of people, it's a growing thing that we're okay if you only do just the one season and that's it. Mm-hmm. Because it was perfect. Yeah.
Perfect season. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. So that is also why I'm so anxious for you to, as I tell you, to get your life. I know you're enjoying life in real life away from screens, but this is... You're
still judging me though.
A little bit. I mean, you heard it in my voice. I know you did. And I know you heard it in the text message I'll send you, and those are actual words. I just don't remember what they were, but but yes, it's fantastic storytelling, great continuation. And again, you don't need to have read the comics or have seen the movie, which it isn't based on the movie, but you can tell that they do kind of take a little bit of elements from the movie. And I'm making that distinction because the movie does shift away a little bit from the comics. The main thing that's different is how the ending in the comics, there's a... well, okay, if you're going to watch the show, it's going to be a spoiler anyway.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to read the comics?
No, I won't read the comics, but I will watch the show probably sometime at some point. Soonish.
Okay. Well, the way that the graphic novel ends differs a bit than the movie, and not so. And in that vein, the movie still has the same impact ending as the graphic novel does, but it'll make sense in the TV show how it's all connected, where it differs from the movie. So by me not saying what that thing is, that's why I'm kind of just jumping around words and not spoiling anything for you. Mm-hmm. But get on board. As I heard someone else say, Watchmen actually became a black show without meaning to be a black show. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Because it deals with race in a really, really interesting way, and I really, really love it. So that's why I'm going on and on about this, and I have so much more on my list. I'm not going to go on forever. It's just because I haven't talked about Watchmen yet with anyone in a podcast medium yet. And I did just give a shout out to LeBlack a little earlier, and her and I may actually do a spoiler-filled review.
Okay.
So depending on when we do that and depending on when you watch it, maybe you can join us, but we'll see.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. The next thing on my list, a Netflix exclusive, Love, Death, and Robots. Hopefully I got that order right. It's another one I told you to watch. I don't know if you did.
I didn't.
No, you didn't. Yes. It's an anthology of a bunch of short films or short animation films that center on, if not all three of those topics, at least one of them. And it's animation for adults. I strongly stress that it's for adults because things get pretty adultish, basically.
As they do.
Yes, as they do when it comes to all three of those topics. Yeah, but it's really, really great, like really great entertainment. I'm hoping they do more of those. So that's something that was really great from this year. Connected to a short film animation, Matthew Cherry's Hair Love. I don't remember if you did get to see that.
Yes. So good. So necessary.
So good. Yes, it was. I'm sure it may have brought tears to many an eye. Yeah. I know I felt a tingle within the cockles of my heart. I'm like, what is happening? I feel like the Grinch at the end of the story, where I think I'm feeling something, and my heart grew a size. So, one of the what I meant to do was say we all know what the biggest thing of this year is, maybe the biggest thing of the decade. It's already been decided, and it's been decided as of 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. Nope, 6 weeks ago. Baby Yoda. Oh,
of course. I'm already trying to learn how to make him. I'm trying to learn how to crochet him now. Hopefully this doesn't come out before, it's going to come out before Christmas, but they won't see it. So I'm trying to give this as a gift for Christmas. And you'll get it at some point. I can't give it to you for Christmas now that I've ruined it, but yeah.
I'll pretend.
Do you want one? Because I don't
know. I don't really know exactly what it is you're making.
A Baby Yoda.
Oh, just crocheted.
Yeah, crocheted Baby Yoda doll or figurine, but it's crocheted.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll take one. Okay. Yes, please.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. All right, cool.
I will cherish it.
Yeah, I'll check again later when it's actually done, because I don't want to make it and then you not love it. So.
Well, hey, I still have the TARDIS Kindle holder you made me.
Do you use it, though, is the question.
Do I use it is not the point. It's the fact that I still have it. No. I cherish it. It's close to being hung on a wall because it's like I want to just show that it's there, but I have it. And I love it. I still thank you for it. But hey, that's kind of Yoda. Baby Yoda, which leads up to one of the biggest movies that's coming out this weekend. I can't include it on my list because I haven't seen it, but what I don't want to say we're all waiting for, but no, I think we're all kind of waiting for it. The biggest movie of this year, probably this decade, and we all know what it is. Cats. Yes, Cats is coming.
I have a few words about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
I'm not a fan.
I'm not either, but I
never want to see it, and I
probably will be seeing it. I will be seeing it, yes, because I kind of need.
No, listen, if it's as weird as its stinking trailers, I don't want it. I rebuke it, and I don't want it. And it should like go down to the pits of you know where.
Well, we shall see. I've actually heard a couple good reviews. Believe it or not.
Nope, I don't believe it. So
I don't understand. I still don't really know. Like, I mean, I kind of know. I have an idea of what the plot would be, but I'm like,
cats in an alley. Maybe I don't know. Is that really cats in an alley?
It's more of it's a curiosity thing for me.
It's a what?
Curiosity. So yes, I do know that the pun is right there about curiosity killing a cat.
I was about to say, you know what they say.
But what happens if you're a dog person? Like curiosity, you just kind of sniff and then like, oh, I don't like this. And then you just walk away, but you still kind of keep sniffing at it and then you bark at it later. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bark at it. I'm dead on the inside.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what happens actually.
Star Wars is coming out this weekend. So eventually I'll get to see that if I can find a seat somewhere and watch it. I hear you're going to feel all the emotions, like every one of them. Probably like including like terror. Like I heard that's something that happens. Yeah. So love and happiness, sadness, all the emotions, all of them. Celebratory. I'm trying to look up my book of emotions. Threatened, probably. That's an emotion, right? Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
All right. But back to my list. As for movies or just things of this year, Avengers Endgame has been a highlight for me. Like leaving the theater, just like, wow, that was something, and going back to watch it again a few times. I think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how many times,
watched it a few times, like out of the theater.
Yes, I did. I kind of struggled to get through it because of sleep sometimes. At home in a darkened room, which is different than sometimes in a theater watching things in a darkened room. I told you I saw Charlie's Angels. Yes, I did, because I told you I forgot that I watched it and kind of fell asleep. But that's a different story. That did not make my list of 2019 because I keep forgetting that I've seen it. John Wick 3, another one. I left just, happy and excited. I went with my dad and my sister, and we left the theater just like, and you remember that scene and that we're just giddy like children. And that, I love leaving a theater with that feeling of just excitement and like, ooh, that was a lot of fun. Because it was a lot of fun. It was. Another film that I had a lot of fun watching and has made my list is Godzilla King of the Monsters. That is, why is that giggle inducing?
It's giggle inducing because I guess I think of some of the previous Godzilla movies that were just not awesome. And, I think of this movie as like the quintessential nerd movie. Now, I am a nerd. I'm a geek, and I'm okay with that title. It's not derogatory. Even if somebody means it to be derogatory, I do not take it that way.
Okay.
But I've just never gotten into the whole Godzilla craze. Like, it's cool. I'll watch it. But it is just the quintessential nerd movie because you've got big fighting monsters, and oftentimes the plot is not there. Which is not a bad thing. It's not it's not a bad thing. Sometimes you just want to go to a movie and you want the escapism and you just want to watch a good, entertaining movie, and that's fine. It just still makes me giggle.
Well, that's exactly what this is.
I'm also a 12-year-old boy, so.
Yeah. You have your moments, but that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. But it just makes me giggle, but I'm glad you got that, from this movie.
Yeah, man, and that's why you should see it one day, because it will give you that same like, ooh, destruction, and then just watching the big monsters fight each other. And
yeah, and then there's a girl monster, so that's neat.
There is, yes. Although it's so hard for me to just accept that she's a monster, but I guess because she is like so large,
She's
yeah.
a beast. Is that a better term? A beast, a large
monstrous.
Beast?
I don't know, but she's so delicate. It's like I almost like I need to whisper around her. even though
she's a giant moth, so I don't want to scare her.
I need to hide all of my sweaters just because just find them and start nibbling on them.
Yeah.
Yes. Just take a giant bite, because it is a giant moth. So yes, just gone.
Right. That's true.
Great movie. Now we're going to get like super serious again, because back to Netflix, Ava DuVernay once again is out here for your tears. I have tweeted that to her. She has liked it. She confirms it. She has a jar of your tears. And this year she gave us When They See Us, about the exonerated 5, because but that was a tough watch. I did get through all 4 episodes, the 4th one being the toughest. But necessary. Like it's a story that needed to be told for those like myself that was not really, I didn't really know the story itself and then what happened. So this definitely was a good representation of that, or retelling of it. Yeah, it was. It's required viewing if you can stomach it, if you can handle it. And I know you, Kortney, sometimes have issues trying to get through certain things like that, but it is good.
I still haven't seen it, and I probably won't, just because I know that it's I've considered many times, not just with this particular film, but with other films, just paying for a ticket or just letting it play in the background or something, so I can still give it the views and the money, but not actually have to consume it. And I probably will still do that, especially with this one. But yeah, I can't watch it. It's it just it does too much with my peace and with my soul. And so I definitely support the story. I've seen a few scenes, and I think the first scene I ever saw of the movie was like the end, where it showed the actual Central Park 5, current day, what they've been up to since the incident, and just that was enough to bring me to tears and to really drive home the point of what this thing did to them and did to their lives. And it's amazing. Like Ava is such an amazing filmmaker, and she's so important for this culture. And her voice is so strong, and it's so, what's the word? She just touches hearts in a way that not many can, and uses that, I guess, superpower or talent for absolute good. So I can't speak enough about her and her work, for sure.
I agree. It's definitely on my list. Someone I'd like to meet, and if I get the chance to ever like work with her or for her, then I will definitely, like, whatever you need me to hold a light, you got it. To the left a little bit, right away.
I will fetch her coffee. Like, I'll do that. I mean, I'll do that. Coffee,
scribble notes for her, or just if she wants a doodle, sure, I'll make the best doodle I can of whatever. Yeah, draw a dog. Okay, I don't know why she would have me draw a dog.
House. She may have you draw a house, and you can totally do that.
Oh, definitely. Oh, I have a reason. Maybe it's for like set design, because I actually did this before, where they were shooting a film and they needed like pictures that a kid would have like on their wall, like drawn pictures. So I think I did that. The movie itself, from what I understand, was not very good. I did not watch it, but but hey, and my artwork was there. So there's that. For lighter, happier fare, we turn to FX for 2 series that I really enjoyed. One of which was ending. That would be... Nope, let me go back to the first one. The first one was one that was starting, based on a movie that was awesome, that I also really love. What We Do in the Shadows. That series, every episode brought me. I want to say it brought me to tears and laughter, but I don't remember if I actually laughed till I cried with each one. But it was, regardless, each episode hilarious. I love. Oh my God, why am I blanking suddenly? Taika Waititi, his brand of humor. Jermaine Clement, they were both involved. Between writing and directing, maybe not each episode, but they were definitely involved, heavily involved in this series, and their stamp of approval and their humor. And if you like the IT crowd, that's also part of this, because what's his name? Second boss that came over.
Renham.
Yes.
But it was his son.
Right. And yes, his
guy.
last name is Barry, but he is in this series too, and just an absolute delight, hilarious. I don't recall if this got picked up for a second season. I sure hope it did, because it is absolutely hilarious and I love it. Legion has ended this season, or ended this year. 3 seasons. It's a great example of, and I always think of Lauren Warren, who has time and time again to say, tell your story, get in and get out. And that's exactly what they did. And they ended not with a bang, but more of a whisper. And, it's over.
I thought the finale was this coming Sunday, no?
For Legion?
Oh, Legion. Okay, I'm thinking Mr. Robot. My bad. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Yes. I almost wanted to include Mr. Robot on this list, but it's not that I'm not a fan of this season. I think it's just I'm waiting to see where it goes and what happens.
Got it.
And I know we can't talk about that because that's also something that you need to catch up on. But yes, you are correct. This coming Sunday will be the series finale, and still, like I said, I don't really know where it's going, how a show like this will end, like what is yet again the end game to everything. Because, I mean, things happened in the last episode that I can't tell you about. And I'm like, okay, well, now what?
Right.
So, yeah. And it was actually interesting the way I watched the last 2 episodes. I watched them back to back, which was appropriate because, and this isn't spoiling anything, but it follows Elliot. The last episode follows Elliot, and the episode before that follows Dean, but both of them at the same time. So, it was just really interesting how that dynamic worked out. And even the soundtrack, anytime like they were in certain scenes or doing certain things, there was music playing, and then anytime their train of thought was broken, or you went to another room, the music stopped, and then as soon as you join them again, the music comes back again. So I'm like, interesting.
Ooh, that is interesting.
Yes. So, and again, this is a series that really breaks rules when it comes to TV and what you expect. Same thing with Legion, for that matter. It's just different, and I love that different kind of television, that different kind of storytelling. Give me more of it. Mm-hmm. So, with that said, Sam Esmail has a new, not a series, but a limited series perhaps coming, starring Rosario Dawson, and I'm curious, but not curious enough to watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I want to know, but at the same time, like I don't want to invest my time in it quite yet. Like maybe I'll catch it later or something. So yeah. Anyway, Legion was great. It's over, and I think maybe one day I'll go back and rewatch the whole series again, and maybe have a better appreciation for the last season. I'm not saying I don't appreciate it. I just felt each season felt very different. Like it almost had a different kind of vibe to it. And this one, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, knowing that it was ending. And I'm like, what is this leading up to? So I want to use Legion as a segue into the comic book world, because I don't really do comics that often, but I have read Powers of X and Powers of House, or House of X. The new X-Men has been rebooted, and I decided to read these because I felt this might be where the MCU might take the X-Men when they do introduce them eventually. Mm-hmm. So I felt this might be a good way to, like, you know, kind of get into that comic world. And then after this particular run of X-Men comics ended, they split out and did other X-Men. What's the word I want to use? I think of Victor because he's a good person when it comes to comics. And he has been talking about this on his podcast on Megashine. So shout out to Megashine. They did a House of X and Powers of X kind of discussion. But they go off and do separate imprints. That's what I was looking for, of X-Men stories after this. So
that's cool.
Yeah. And I'm kind of curious, but I don't want to spend any more money on comics right now. But if you do want to read the Powers of X and House of X, I think they are doing, I think it's called an Omni book, where they put all of them together. So you could just buy the one book and you're good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those people not pointing any fingers who, you know, didn't quite read along with me, I had to read by myself, but that's okay. Speaking of X, we're going to switch over to music, and I want to give a shout out to Lil Nas X for not necessarily Old Town Road, because I got the song, got the hint. I'm like, okay, it's cool. But the song I really liked was Panini. So that was...
You know, I still haven't listened to that song.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Just everything. Everything.
I know.
I think even in a group chat we gave it to you and you still didn't listen.
Mm-hmm, that's probably accurate.
Goodness. Hear that, Birdo? What's going on?
He don't hear it.
But yes, Panini, I just like that song more than like Old Time Road, and it's actually interesting to me that song didn't make it in my 2019 Spotify wrap up. At least I don't think it did.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in fact, only maybe 2 people made it to my wrap up that I'm going to mention. Nope, 3. Because the next person I want to give a shout to for this year, and this is more so years that the artist really blew up, because some of these people have been around for a while and we just haven't really heard about them, mm-hmm. or we heard about them, but they didn't have a big hit until this year. Such as Billie Eilish. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right. I should know what
you are.
Oh, that is? Okay. Because Bad Guy has been pretty much her huge hit for this year, which I like. I do like that song. But the song that I first heard her, I think is Old Blue Eyes. I should have looked it up first. But there's a specific version. It's a remixed version, and it's been out for like maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years. And I just been in love with that song. I'm like, man, I really wish she would do more things. And eventually she did, and came out with like a whole album, which I still have not listened to all of it. But since then, she's one of these artists that also just puts out music whenever she wants, or her and her brother rather, because there's a couple. Her brother, I don't know what his name is. He's the one who writes all the songs, and she sings them, or maybe they write them together. But because last year they came out with a song. It's not a Christmas song, but it came out to help promote, I think, the new. Well, it's old now. I think it's like one of the iPhones that came out last year, and not necessarily to promote the iPhone, but they wrote a song to go along with the short film that went along with whatever Apple was promoting at the time. And it's with this woman who's, I guess, maybe designing something or making something, and then eventually sharing it with the world. And the song is called Come Out and Play. And it's just so gentle and easy. And it's another side of Billie that I really just kind of enjoy, like just that soft, like soft side. I can't think of another word, but it's just pleasant and just makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So again, more feels. So my heart keeps growing a little bit bigger. Another artist that really blew up this year that I'm just so happy for is Lizzo. Again, she's been around for a little while, but this is the year that struck gold for her. So I don't have any songs. Yeah, it is. I don't have any songs in particular I'd point out because Not that I didn't like any of them, but I'm just happy she's out here. She's flourishing and doing well. So
yeah,
good job for Lizzo. She was supposed to be coming to Hartford, I guess maybe this weekend or next weekend. But she had to cancel because she got, did she get the flu? Well, she got sick, basically.
Yeah, she got sick though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not that I was intending to go, because I literally just found out watching the news, like, Lizzo's not coming to Connecticut. What are you going to do about it? And that's not what they said. But they said it in a threatening way, as if Lizzo was upset with Connecticut, like we did something to her, or somebody said something, like, I'm not coming. So I'm like, oh no, what happened? And then there's like, oh, Lizzo, got sick and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought we did something. Cool. Well, not cool, but glad, she's just sorry and apologizing. She had to cancel, I think, a show in Boston as well. So, so get better, Lizzo. Another one that blew up, and again, I guess I do have a song that I do like from her. Megan Thee Stallion, or The Stallion. Mm-hmm. And it's been a hot girl summer, and that's actually the song that I like. It really grew on me, and I'm like, just found myself just bumping in it in the car because it's got a good beat, and I like the lyrics. So yeah. So good for her and making this money just so she can continue to get her degree. I know she's in school and she's finishing school. Mm-hmm. So that's just awesome for her, living her best life. So, and lastly, Hades Town, which actually did make my 2019 Spotify wrap up. So that's an entire musical, let alone songs and whatnot, but that's something I've been listening to like on repeat for the past few months since coming across it. So that actually wraps up my best of 2019. I also want to throw in PodCon 2 because I did that at the very beginning of the year. I went there and had a great time. So shout out to Seattle. Wish I booked my trip a little better because I only got to see one day of PodCon 2 and not the 2 days that it actually lasted because I scheduled my flight on the second day. So yeah. But hey, lesson learned. And also I had a really great room. I had just really enjoyed my stay there and wished it lasted a little longer. But going back to music for a second, I do have playlists of all the songs that I've really enjoyed over this past year. 3 separate playlists that average about 70 songs per playlist. So once I kind of get some album covers together, right, because I do custom covers for each playlist that I publicly publish, and maybe some better titles for the playlist, because right now it says 2019 A, 2019 B. Yeah. So yeah, once I hit about like 70 to 80 songs and I stop and I make a new playlist, because I'm like, this is enough. Because I need enough songs to get through a work day without having to repeat the songs. Yeah. Unless I choose to repeat them. So yeah. And then I go back to them sometimes. I'm like, ooh, I like this song. Ugh, gross. Or it'll start coming on the radio. And I'm like, because there's a couple playlists that are like that in the past. And like, I can't listen to the song anymore because the radio overplayed it. But I feel good about it because I found the song before the radio did. So I'm like, now you're just catching up. I knew this was a hit.
Do you say that?
I do. Just kind of just, stiff upper lip kind of thing, and nose up high, like this is so beneath me now because I did before it was cool, kind of thing. Yeah, like a hipster. Yeah. Have you been able to populate your list with any of your own likes of this past year?
I have, and I mean, I had it populated, but now it's categorized thanks to you. So, thank you for the extra time, Teach. So
not a problem.
So in TV, I have been watching more rewatches than anything else, more than new TV. So, but I do have a couple of like up to date, modern, present day shows that are on TV. So one of them is Charmed. And I do mean the Charmed reboot. So for a long time, I have kind of been warily excited about the reboot of this show. because I am a huge fan of the original, which I am currently, even now, going through a rewatch of it for research, you know? So as I'm going through this rewatch of the original Charmed, which aired initially like in the late 90s and had 8 seasons, I kept seeing like promos and things for the reboot. So I was like, oh God, I guess I'll give it a try. Now I did give the pilot a try, like when it first came out, and I was just not impressed. I just wasn't in the right place at that time. I watched it and I said, the show isn't for me. I don't think so. But curiosity got the best of me. So I went back to it and ended up finishing it, in a couple weeks. And I freaking love it. And it's weird for me to say that because there's reasons why. I mean, there are different shows, but there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of nods to the original series. And they're very, very different shows, especially like because I'm still going through the Charmed or like OG Charmed rewatch. Like I can clearly see the differences between the two shows, and it's just very interesting. It does weird things to my brain, but I include it because I really do like some of the changes that they made with the new Charmed. I like some of the turns and the twists and the paths that they took with the storytelling and with the characters, and I mean I really like it. So I want to include that. Also want to include The Good Place.
Okay.
So they're in their 4th season, and apparently they're on a mid-season break. And so it's still going on, but we are in the final season. We do know that this is the last season that they will be making. It kind of goes back to what you were saying about, tell your story, get in, get out. No need to drag it on for many, many, many seasons if you know that the end is there. And I really do respect that when shows do that. I mean, Legion did it. Mr. Robot is doing it. The Good Place is doing it. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the cartoon, did it. And we still just love those shows because the story was told in a succinct manner. It didn't drag on just for the sake of, having more seasons or squeezing it dry for more seasons. So
Dexter. Sorry.
Dexter. And the Game of Thrones in many, many ways.
Oh, wow. Yes. That happened this year. Wow.
It happened this year, and it's not on either of our lists, is it? Is it?
No, it isn't. I mean, I would have added it if they ended it at that big battle, because I mean that would have coincided with Endgame, because like that would have been a perfect ending.
Right.
Just end it there.
It just would have been a perfect ending, period. But they decided to move on and go forward and really wrap up a would-be great show in a not-so-great manner. Like, that's the nicest I can be about it. And I don't want to talk about it. So, moving on. Back to The Good Place, an actual good show from beginning to end, where, I actually recently-ish listened to a Good Place podcast. I forget the actor's real name, but he plays Sean in the show. He plays the demon Sean, who's like the head demon, and he actually hosts I can't remember his name, but he actually hosts the podcast. So it's NBC.
Oh no, who you're talking about.
Wow,
now I can't. I do, but now I can't think of what his name is, because he's on a lot of podcasts that I listen to.
Oh, so. Is he?
Yeah.
He's just great. But it's an NBC like sponsored podcast, so it's very well done and it's well edited and stuff. But I've listened to a couple of episodes from that podcast, and he talks about how the writers. He interviewed one of the creators. What's his name? Michael.
Sure, yeah.
He interviewed him, and Michael Shore was very certain. He's like, we went in knowing if we got our way, it would be 4 seasons. We knew the beginning and the end, and yada yada yada. So,
Mark Evan Jackson.
Yes, Mark Evan Jackson. Yes, fabulous. He's so great.
Yes.
But Michael Shore was saying how, they were blessed to be able to kind of do their own thing, to run with this crazy idea of a sitcom and actually be able to see it through to the very end. So I'm very excited, but it's like a bittersweet thing. You know, I'm sad to see it go, this show, but it's also really cool that they're taking, I call it the high road. They're taking the high road and telling the story from beginning to end, not being tempted to just keep going and possibly ruin a very, very good show.
Right.
And, you know, I'm very interested this show is so unique to me, and it's very interesting. It's been super interesting to see how it's played out. I honestly did not expect it to go where it's gone and to have some of the twists and turns that it's taken. So I've been very pleasantly surprised along the way, and I'm super interested to see how it's going to end. I don't want to say much more than that.
Just like you haven't watched anything I talked about, I haven't watched this season. So
cool.
I'm up to date with last season, of course, but like, I haven't watched anything, and I think my DVR's been recording it, unless someone's been going through and deleting things.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you too. Like this is a hyped up show, which you would almost think wouldn't work, or it would be canceled within like maybe the first or second year. But enough people watched it. NBC had enough faith in it, keep it going. And you're absolutely right. It's great when you get to see a show, you love a show, and that show actually gets to end on their own terms.
Yes, that's super important. I really think so, especially when the creators have a very clear progression of the story and of the characters, and they actually get to see it happen. That's pretty special, and I don't think it happens a whole lot, especially since we're in the age of, you know, if you don't get those numbers in, we're going to cut you, no matter how much potential it has, no matter how much love there is for the show. Like, if the numbers aren't there, you got to go. So I'm very excited that this show has kind of done what it set out to do, and you know, like you said, they get to end it on their terms. So it's not going to be a thrown together piece of crap like Game of Thrones season 8. But I'm done with that. So whatever.
I mean, this is the punching bag of 2019, where normally we like to talk about Batman v Superman. So
well, it has officially been replaced for this year. I guess year only. for
TV purposes. For TV purposes, Game of Thrones for this year, it would be Game of Thrones season 8 that we beat up on. Prior to that, it would have been like Dexter, the last season. I think that wasn't season 8. It was season 7. I don't know, but it was at some point where it was like, this is terrible. Let's just stop it now.
Well, How I Met Your Mother gets a lot of bad rap, and I agree. I didn't watch that show enough to care, but listening to the true fans of it, I'm like, yeah, you have every right to be pissed off. I'm pissed off with you, right alongside you.
And you know what? I'm indifferent, because I did not like how it ended, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. Or after the mom died, because yes, they did meet the mom at the last season, and then she died, and then I think Ted was like still in love with Robin, the character from the very beginning.
Very freaking beginning.
Very beginning. And then the kids were like, yeah, go ahead, go after her and whatever. I'm like, after all of that, that's what this is about.
You literally could have just gotten to the point. You could have been with her from the very beginning, but no, drama and plot. Ugh, just spare me.
And I also get that sometimes it's more about the journey than like the actual, outcome. But you built up this thing the whole time, and then you just missed it. I will say that I've heard, and I haven't seen it for myself, but I have heard that I think on the DVD they have the alternate ending where you can see Ted actually with the mother, and they stay together, like she stays alive. So that's what they should have went with. They should have stuck with that.
Now, curious, was Robin their mother, or was the lady who died their mother?
The lady who died was their mother, because Robin couldn't have kids. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is something that I completely keep forgetting about. But yeah, she's not able to give birth to children. So that was one way that's absolutely ruled out that the mother is not Robin.
Not Robin. Got it. But
Yeah.
they didn't rule out that he could still get with her at some. Oh God, terrible. I'm mad with you. Like
And it's yet another movie another TV show based in New York to exemplify the lie that New York apartments are just very roomy
affordable
and affordable. Because another one that does that is Seinfeld. Actually, pretty much all New York based sitcoms make you believe like, oh wow, I'm gonna go to New York and get this apartment where the couch can just float in the center of the room and you have all this room to just do all these shenanigans all around, and you have all the space where you and your 5 friends can just do whatever you want. Have a whole Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
Right.
Lies. So many lies. I'm sorry, but go ahead with your list as you go.
No, I get it. No, listen, I'm here for the rants, especially with TV shows that suck.
I know and why they suck. Because I'm going to be here to defend Lost, though, because I'm one that was a fan of the way it ended, and I may have even shed a gangsta tear a little while.
Really?
Because it warmed the cockles of my heart. Yes, I said cockles of my heart twice in one episode, but that's how much growing I've been doing, where I've been getting in touch with my feelings and feeling them. I feel my feelings and I feel them. So,
yeah, I get it.
So I'm on that side of that fence of Lost. I'm here for the entire season except for season 3, which meanders quite a bit. But that's also when they figured out what they were doing with their lives. Not Lost, but
time. The actors,
the writers, when they figured out again, Damon Lindelof. ABC had such confidence, and they're like, okay, we'll give you 3 more seasons, and you wrap it up by then. Or rather, they wanted to wrap it up in 3 seasons. Damon Lindelof and Damon Hughes, I believe. Not Damon Hughes, whatever his name, Carlton Hughes. They figured out how they want to end the series, and ABC was like, go for it. And they wrapped it up in the last 3 seasons. So they knew what their end game was, and ABC had enough faith in them because it was ABC's biggest show. So of course they can do what they want. So,
but they got it together. You know, sometimes this is why I like to give new shows, at least not a couple of seasons, but I will at least give them a couple of episodes, you know, to kind of get it together. And if I need to come back to it later, I don't mind doing that. It just takes time for them to get their rhythm and to really figure out where they want to take the show. So, you know, I feel like in this case, Lost is a prime example of that.
Right. And you have to nail it in the pilot. And that's what I did. And I tell this each and every time I talk about Lost, where I thought it was a movie because that pilot was so strong. Until you realize, like, oh, this is a TV show? And I was watching it live, thinking it was a movie, and heartbroken to find out it was a TV show. And I'm like, I'm just about to get into college. I don't have time for a TV show right now.
Right.
And I was so upset. And I just, banished it. Like, no, I'm not watching this until friend of the show, Magdalena, she told me, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it. So watch it with me, virtually or whatever. And I did, and I loved it. So completely changed my mind about it. So, yes. Tell your story, get in, get out. Although Lost wasn't accepting, they had to do 23 episodes a season rather than 13.
But they did it, you know?
They did it. Except for that season 3.
Yeah, well, you know, whatever. Every series and every show has, well, not everyone, but a lot of shows have those episodes or they have those seasons where you're just like, we're not gonna mention that. You know, The Office, I love it so much, but season 9 could have not happened. Really, seasons probably 7 through 9 probably didn't need to happen. I'm grateful for them because I love that show.
Basically, when Michael left.
Basically when Michael left, it just kind of went downhill. There's some good gems in there, but it's like, ooh, you could have kept it.
I do want to revisit just for the James Spader episodes.
Sure, but some of them were like, this is creeptastic.
That's why I want to watch it.
No, but there's some episodes where I just feel like they were trying too hard. I don't know. But there's some episodes where, or there's some theories out there that say it should have ended after Jim and Pam's wedding.
That would have been a good time.
I think that would have been a really good time. Like, I'm really happy for the seasons that happened after that, because you got to see their baby and you got to see a little bit more of the other characters, and but I thought either Jim and Pam's wedding or like Michael's departure would have been absolutely like chef's kiss perfect. Mm-hmm. But it just went on too long, and even the actors were ready to hang it up. And I don't know, I feel like you could kind of see that. So
I certainly did. I don't really remember the last season because I left.
Well, I do a rewatch of shows, and of course The Office is one of them. And it's funny because like every time I get to probably about season 6 or so, I just start to watch other stuff, and then I'm like, I wonder what The Office is talking about. And then I like start the whole rewatch all over again, because I just don't need to see those last few seasons anymore, I do. Now, I will tell you that the finale was perfect, and I loved it, and it makes me cry every time. But the seasons in between there, just to get to that, unnecessary, they could probably be cut.
I feel like this is a topic we will have to revisit in kind, just to go through like other seasons that have these issues where like they're really good, but this is something we can leave out and kind of rant about that, because
I have lots of words to say. So,
what else is on your list?
So, in film, I also put down Endgame, because that was the quintessential finale for Marvel, and I thought it was perfect, and I loved it. And I still haven't watched it. I've only seen it maybe once. No, I've seen it twice now. Both times in theaters, and I have not been able to go back, because I just know that my heart, I'm like, okay, listen, this is gonna make me cry, it's gonna make me sad, I really don't want to do it. So, but it's such a important film, just personally, because I was there from the beginning with when Marvel first came out with Iron Man and that whole MCU journey. So it's like a pretty big, important thing. And now we're getting ready to welcome a new decade, a new year, and I don't know, it's just a very
whole new phase and everything.
It's a whole new phase for the MCU, yeah. It's just it was a very fitting end to that first phase.
It's a whole new world. Don't you dare close your eyes.
I was going to sing and I couldn't. Sorry. So I'm in this opportunity, whatever. Okay. But yeah, just just super great. Oh, I do want to mention back in the TV category, The Mandalorian.
Oh my God, I meant to say that too. But yes.
I can't believe you didn't, but I did. So
well, I kind of did, because we talked about Baby Yoda.
You said Baby Yoda. You did not mention the Mandalorian.
You're right. You're right. I didn't say the Mandalorian proper, because that's what I meant to say. It wasn't written. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I agree with you on Baby Yoda, because he, I think he did kind of. I'm not this is a well-known, this about me, that I'm not into Star Wars. I think it's cool and I respect it or whatever, but I just can't, I'm not part of the fandom. I don't, maybe I'll give it a try again or whatever, but that's not my fandom. So, I wish there was a word, because because I'm actually like this with both like Star Trek and Star Wars, where I'm not deep in the fandom, but I'm part of the culture. Like, I know it. I know the universe. I know the characters. I know the story.
It's hard to not be part of the culture, though, because it's now so mainstream and it's not such a geeky thing to be a part of it. It's hard to not be part of the culture. But I don't think just because you know the story and you're familiar with it and you may even like it, doesn't necessarily mean you're part of the fandom.
Right.
Now, I don't want to get into the semantics of that, because you could get into a bit of gatekeeping. And listen, if you want to like it a little bit and you want to call yourself a part of the fandom, listen, live your best life. Like, I don't care. But I just don't even feel part of fandom. Like, I like Star Wars. I like the ideology behind it. I love the characters from what I've seen, because I haven't seen them all. But it's not, I guess, because my view of fandom means like obsession for me personally, not for anybody else, but like I think about it all the time. I want to know more about the characters. I want to like eat up just about every bit of information about the fandom that I can, or about the media that I can. And I just don't feel that connection with Star Wars.
Right.
So I like it and I appreciate it, but it ain't my fandom. So,
and that's how I would define it as well, because I feel that way. I also feel that way about Star Wars. I feel that way about Star Trek. I think the only thing that I fully can say that I live in the fandom of would probably be like the Marvel universe, because that is a time where I do find myself like, ooh, who's that character? And I'll go straight to like Wikipedia and like look everything about that character, and maybe even purchase a comic book or something. I'm with that with the MCU. I'm with that with Watchmen exclusively. I don't want to say like all the DC characters, because that is a DC property, but
right. Gotta watch it there.
right. I'm a little closer to that when it comes maybe to the Flash on the TV version of the Flash, as they introduce a character. I'm like, ooh, who's that? And then I'll go, find out about them. And I say exclusively the Flash because I do not really mess with the Arrow.
Or Supergirl guy. You watch Supergirl?
Yeah, I did.
Then keep her.
Yeah, and I'm not even interested remotely in Batwoman, and it has nothing to do with the character. It's just I'm just not interested. She just doesn't seem that interesting to me. So
she seems interesting to me, but not enough to actually watch her show. I don't know. Like,
I'm cool. Like, great, she exists. Fantastic. But
cool. Yeah, exist forever, Batgirl. But I don't need to be a part of that process.
Yeah, and then there's a new one they're introducing, Stargirl. There's very little I know about her in order to be excited about her. So I think once again, I'll preview a couple episodes, see how it goes, and then make some judgments from there. Black Lightning, I like, but I've kind of fallen off because my TV quota has shifted. I can only consume so many hours of visuals, and unfortunately, Black Lightning got the short end of that stick. I'm like, sorry, I'm cutting you off. Like, I know where you are. I can find you. But for right now, I'm sorry. And I have to give, I don't give them a rose or whatever it is that you do in competition shows when you're voted off the island. So
that's awesome.
I
understood that reference.
it's sad, but that's how it is in 2019, where I'm like, I don't have the time anymore. I'm voting you off, and I have to pick your battles. You got to make room for new people like the Mandalorian. I'm like, hey, it's Mandalorian time. Stop what you're doing. Warm up the popcorn. Get the gummy bear ready. Whatever. Let's do this. And
so let me get back to the Mandalorian, because we totally went off on a complete tangent. So
that's what we do here.
Rightfully so. I mean, listen, I'm not complaining. I just got a lot to say about it. So I freaking love the Mandalorian. This all started with me saying how I'm not a part of the Star Wars fandom, but I am a part of the Mandalorian and / Baby Yoda fandom, because everything about the Mandalorian I love. It's always been really hard for me to get into Star Wars like lore. I don't know why, but it just doesn't really speak to me that way. But I love the fresh and new approach that the Mandalorian has taken. And granted, like, this is kind of a disclosure. I haven't seen any of the new Star Wars movies. So I know Last Jedi is coming out. No, that's already come out. So I haven't seen that one. Rise of the Skywalker is coming out. I don't know if I'm going to see it. I don't know. But I haven't seen, Last Jedi. I haven't seen Solo. I haven't seen whatever the one before Last Jedi was.
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So, so The Mandalorian is my first recent viewing, or I can't say introduction, but my only recent experience with the Star Wars universe or with Star Wars lore. But when I tell you I love it, now I know enough of Star Wars to know what's going on and to kind of know what's happening. I do have to talk with Daniel, my boyfriend, because he's like super into it. And I'm like, okay, so what is that creature? What's happening? And so he'll like tell me that. But for the most part, like I can follow along with it. The show gives you enough information about like Mando, the Mandalorian, and their whole religion and their whole culture.
The way.
This is the way. And so like the show itself gives you enough information to go on, even if you're a newbie or you're a kind of newbie like me, but not too much to drag you down or to overwhelm you. And so
right.
I love that about it. I love how you literally have not seen any part of the Mandalorian's body, and especially his face, and yet you can tell what his he's one of the most expressive characters on the whole show. It's amazing, and I've never seen anything like it, and I just stand. Okay, I stand. It's amazing. Like the silence is there. And as a writer who is currently, writing her own series of novels and characters, I look at all this stuff. It's so much more meaningful to me than just a TV show. I'm researching. Like everything I do is researching. And so I see this character and I'm learning so much about characterization and what's it called when you place like actors? Blocking. I'm learning so much about blocking just visually because you can see him when he tenses up. You can see him when he's like smirking. You can see him when he's getting mad, but he has a freaking helmet on. It's crazy.
Right.
So I love this show. I love this direction that Star Wars is taking. I understand enough about the Star Wars like community that it's kind of divided with the new films, and you either love it or you hate it, and there's rarely an in between. But generally speaking, people seem to really take to the Mandalorian just because of what it's done and the story, and it's just so innovative and so cool. And then of course Baby Yoda, who makes everything better because babies.
Right. And I feel like that's a draw. Like you come for Baby Yoda, but you stay for the story. Because most of it isn't really even about Baby Yoda. It's just he's just tagging along at this point. But I mean, it is about him. But
yeah, he is. But it's also changing the Mandalorian, which is what kids do. They come into your life and they change you. They don't mean to, but they just do. And it's interesting to see that change in Mando, because that he went against direct orders, which was to bring the target in dead or alive, but preferably alive. And then he completely went against that because he knew that something wasn't right.
Right.
And then he's just been fighting to protect this little baby that he doesn't know anything about. They don't even know what the species is at this point. It's just, but also you see more into Mando, and you get to learn more about him as a character. But it's so interesting how they characterize this person who doesn't show facial expressions. And even like with his movements, he's so minimal. Like he conserves his movements and his speech. But that's I know people like that. So it's just, I could go on. We can like talk about the Mandalorian for a long time, but I'm going to move on. But I love that show and I'm psyched. So
I will say something in 2020. I definitely want to do more like specials regarding things like Watchmen, like Mandalorian, so we can actually dive and take the time to get into them.
I have so much, many words, so many words. So many words. But anyway, moving on because I have a few more things. So back to film, I mentioned Endgame. I also want to mention Downton Abbey. I am a huge Downton Abbey fan, which is a TV show, but the show ended a few years back. I only recently, because I like to do things behind the times,
Clearly.
Because I have other things going on. Come on. But I obsess over them when I get into them. So it takes me time to like move on to new, more up-to-date things. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Well, I'm just impressed with you because FOMO doesn't seem to really affect you.
Nope.
Sometimes it does for me.
It used to, but it just doesn't anymore. I've learned there's so much content out there. I can't keep up. I don't want to keep up. I commend those who do keep up and like are still sane. I just can't do it. So for real, because it's a lot of stuff out there. It's a lot of really good stuff out there. And I just years ago, I've just opted out of like being on top of everything, and I'm much happier for it. But I finally finished Downton Abbey, like probably last year. I think it was last year, probably. But so the show is over, but they came out with a movie and I didn't see it.
Wow.
I was super excited to see it, but honestly, it premiered during a time that was personally pretty rough for me. And honestly, I just didn't make the time to see it. So, but I'm very excited about it because I know that I'm going to watch it when it comes out on, rentable venues. So yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it really counts, but it did happen. I heard nothing but great reviews about it, and I can't wait to see Dame Maggie Smith in all of her snarky glory. Also, I saw Maleficent. Get it though. I saw Maleficent 1 and 2.
Oh, now, wow.
Maleficent 2 came out this year. And I actually saw it. So I hadn't seen, prior to this Maleficent 2, I had not seen the first one, which came out in 2014. But I took my oldest bonus child, to see Maleficent 2 in the theaters. And I loved it. It was so good. I learned so many things about the dark fae, because that's what Maleficent is. She's a fairy. And it was so good. So good. I loved it so much. I had to go back and see the first Maleficent just to get that story. And I actually love the second one better, but the first movie was very good. And I rented it from Amazon Prime Video.
Look at you.
I know, right? And I loved it. So I'm very excited about I could be a part of that fandom like immediately.
Like it's actually weird for you to watch things out of order in that way.
It is. But I mean, really what happened was, so her younger sisters went to see Frozen 2. And she's like, I don't want to see it, but I want to go to the movies. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go see something else. So fortunately, Maleficent was playing still, because it came out a few months ago, or a little while ago. And so, but we were able to catch a show, and she was all for that, because it's a little bit more mature, than Frozen. And she's the oldest, so she got to do something different. So it just kind of worked out that way. I probably, if it wasn't for this very unique and particular situation, I wouldn't have seen it on my own. But I just happened to have a situation to go see it, and we went to see it, and I absolutely loved it. And so then I had to go backwards. So yeah, but you're right. Normally I need to see it in order, like no exceptions.
Yeah, that's why it took me forever to see Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I didn't see.
Oh yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph first. So I had to see Wreck-It Ralph first, and then
it's a great movie. I haven't seen the second one.
Well, it's on Netflix. I think.
I think if not Netflix, it'll be on Disney. I can't remember,
because they'll be snatching them all up like the snap. So
right, pretty soon.
Because I know
have
4
both,
left.
So I can. Oh, did it from Netflix?
Yeah, it's like one of their promoted ones on Disney Plus now.
Oh, okay. That must be recent then.
It is fairly recent. So, and then I saw it on there, like, you know what? Maybe I could watch it. But no, I'm like, I had other things to do. So,
right.
I mean, that's one of my favorites. It actually made it up there to be one of my favorite Marvel movies at this point.
It's a good one. I will say that in film, this is not a part of my list, but I did finally see Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, so 1 and 2.
And I will go on the record and tell you I told you so. I'm sorry, I didn't wait for you to finish, but go on.
No, that's okay. It's worth it, I guess. You did tell me, so you've been telling me how good it was and how funny it is, and you were right. You did not disappoint. The film didn't disappoint. But I'm really glad I didn't go pay to see it. Like, I would have paid to see it, but geez, like, listen, if y'all remember, listeners, that, you know, the episodes where we talked about Ant-Man and the episodes that I've said things about Ant-Man, I just wasn't interested, you know, whatever. Like, I'll see it eventually. And I was right. I did see it eventually and I loved it. But I just, it didn't look good to me. But I also didn't understand the power of Paul Rudd and the character who plays Louise. And Michael Douglas Smith and what's her name, who was Lily in Lost, Evangeline something.
Evangeline.
The one who played the Wasp.
The Wasp, right?
And Michelle Pfeiffer is in the second one. So like, there's a lot of really good things in here. I just needed to come to it in my own timing, you know?
I guess so. But I mean, you missed that whole big screen experience, as well as how, you know, it ends. Because that was something that you can only experience in a theater, which was amazing.
That's true. That is true. So I did miss it, but it eventually came to me, and it came to me in its own time, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'll allow it. Anything else on your list?
Nothing else for film. Last I have, though, is music. So Lizzo, she's on my list because I have become a fan of hers. I love her style. I love her freedom. I love, like, there's some songs that I don't care for because I think they're overplayed now. But for overall, I just think she's a great artist. I'm glad that she's finally getting her flowers, and because, like you said, she has been around for a few years, but is just now kind of coming to the forefront of her career. So I'm really happy for her. I love to see it. I also have for music Homecoming. This could possibly go under film because, I mean, like Beyonce's Homecoming, I believe that came out this year.
Right, it did. It was another Netflix event. Yeah.
Right. So I know that Homecoming is a film, you know, that Netflix, I guess, sponsored or produced, or I don't know, they paid for it. But, you know, when she did Coachella, it was in 2018, but she actually released the documentary and called it Homecoming and released it this year, and I love it. I put it under music, though, because even though the documentary is amazing, the songs is what really keeps me coming back. The movements and the visuals, of course, is amazing, but, you know, I'm able to come back to the music. I love how she remixed her own songs. She came up with a couple of new songs. I love the whole thing about it. It just is like Lemonade Part 2 almost. And Lemonade was super, super impactful for me when it came out, I believe, in 2016.
Right.
Last on my music list is she's an artist she spells her name Nao. So I'm not sure if it's Nao or Now. I'm not sure how she pronounces it, but she's like a popish singer, and she's got such a like cool voice. It's really, really high pitched, but it's not altered. Her voice is just super. She's just got a really high register. And I love her music. A lot of it is really high energy. And she's not quite R&B, but I guess she's not really pop. She's more like alternative, but she's got an African vibe over pop. It's just super cool. She's an alternative R&B artist, I guess is how she's best described.
I do like that category because I've kind of started to kind of delve into that a bit more because I kind of been past the traditional R&B for a while. I'm just trying to find my own groove, something I really enjoy. And that sounds like someone I might possibly be into. So I may be looking into them tomorrow.
Well, I actually looked into, I did a search for, alternative Black girls. And she was one that came up on, a few of the lists that showed up. And of the others, there's some other really great artists on the list that I researched. But she's one of the ones that I keep coming back to just because I love her sound. I love her, like the feel that you get from her.
Okay.
So yeah, she's definitely one to check out. So
Ari Lennox is spanking brand new for me. I think she's been out for a while, but I recently just heard about her and I listened to a couple of her songs. I feel like she might fit in that list. I'm not sure. She's still too new for me, but
she's got some good ones, and I think she probably does fit in that list. You actually introduced me to Jackie Vincent, who is, I guess she's more like soul or rock, maybe. But I really like her. Another one,
her and that guitar of hers. So
oh my gosh, yes, she's just she makes it sing, and she can. I just love it. Another one that came that I've discovered or come across. Her name is, I think, Mape.
Ooh, yes.
You know her? Okay,
I do know her.
I love her.
I only heard a couple of her new songs, but there's only one song from her that I absolutely love, and that came out a couple years ago. And I think that's "Don't Wait." I think it's called
"Don't Wait." Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So good.
So that's been my top song so far. I think my only song that I really love from her. I think that album that it's on too, and there might be a couple other ones, but I haven't listened to too much of her new stuff. Nothing has made any of the playlists that I discussed earlier that I will post publicly. But none of her new stuff has made it on any of those playlists. Nothing against her. It's just, I wasn't quite feeling it, but I like her as an artist for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's been a blessing to, come across these artists because they really, I was searching for something new, and specifically I like to make playlists for my books. So I came across them, and I'm super glad I did.
So yeah, definitely a plug for Spotify, because that's how I've come across and discovering some of these artists, and they actually have playlists tailored to what you listen to. Two of them I go to every week is on Friday, the new releases. So artists I already listened to, they'll give new music that they've done. And then on Monday, you discover based on songs that you listen to or artists that you listen to. So I'll be introduced to new people that way. And then I'm like, I really like your sound. Let me see what your top songs are. And then I'll kind of visit, because you recommended artists to me. So that's what I'll do. I'll listen to their top 5 songs. And if any of them move me, then maybe they might get added to the list, or I just continue listening to more until I find one that I like. So, so that tends to happen that way. So yeah, that sounds good. And anything else on your list?
That'll do it.
All right. Well, that is all of our stuff. I definitely do encourage listeners to share some of their favorite of 2019. And things going into 2020. Some stuff I mentioned already. I intend to do a bit more videos for 2020. I want to do more stuff for the Patreon, because I kind of stopped around May. It's only because I got busy with things. Definitely have content to put on Patreon, such as show or pre-show stuff that you and I have done, Kortney, from past episodes. I just haven't edited it into anything yet. And then, like I said, we'll do some episodes where we focus on maybe a thing. Like when Mandalorian wraps up, we'll probably do a special on that. That'll be in January, because it's already the end of the year. So it'll be the last episode of this year. I have already talked to the Black Creative. We're going to do something on Watchmen. We were supposed to do something on Joker. We haven't done that, and we still might. But yeah, just other things that we just want to have a hyper focus on, so we can really get into the nitty gritty of why we liked it, or maybe even why we didn't, but just, things like that. But that will be on Patreon. That is a way that you can support us. We're only looking for $1. If you want to give more, then by all means do that. And maybe I'll do something that's for those people who donate more. So yeah, more stuff for that. I also finally made a Facebook page for the Indube Pod, and that is @IndubePod. So Facebook, or the shortest way to write it is fb.com/indupod. You'll find it, like it. I said I was going to give a shout out. Do that right now as that page. Just a moment. And see, this I don't use Facebook that much, so I don't have it at the ready all the time. All right, my quick shout out to these people who have left the page, and I think I'm just going to read everybody because I think that 11 now. So, shout out to, here we go, Philip, Alan, Magdalena, Ebony, Kimberly, Lucinda, Ashley, Miracle. I'm just going to call you JD, even though you have it, Jeffy here, and Paul. I know each and every one of these people. I was going to say something special about each and every one, but then I'll just, please forgive me. And also just Merry Christmas, because it's coming up. Did Hanukkah already pass? I don't know. No, but Happy Hanukkah.
It's the day after Christmas.
Okay, day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. Happy Kwanzaa. Mm-hmm. Happy New Year.
I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. No, Hanukkah has begun. It's just before. It's like, okay, sorry. It began, I believe, like the 10th.
The 10th?
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So it's going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's already, today I believe is the last day because it's 8 days.
So you just made it. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Happy Three Kings Day. I believe that's January 6th usually. Does that change? Boxing Day, yes.
I don't know about King's Day. Winter solstice.
Right. That is this weekend.
The 21st, correct?
The 21st, yes. Yes, Festivus for the rest of us. That's right. Get your poll out. And trying to think of any other holidays I may have missed. I do not know. I don't think there is. But yeah, the next episode will be out January 8th. So Kortney and I will discuss when we'll be recording that one. So we'll discuss all the whatever. I have no idea what that episode will be about. I will give a shout out to my brother Damon. His podcast has come out. It is called the 4040 Podcast. It is available on Spotify. Due to the Spotify wrap up, they included podcast now, so they will track how much you listen to. And it was inaccurate from my reading, for my wrap up. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to switch all my podcast listening over there. It's been a bit of a transition. I'm getting used to it. It's not bad. It's got its pros and its cons, but I can deal with it. But I want an accurate representation of what I do at the end of the year, because
it's mostly accurate though. I mean, it's pretty accurate. I think moving forward they'll do better with it.
Oh, I mean, for me it wasn't accurate.
Oh,
because all my podcasts I was listening to on Apple Podcasts. So
got you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All it showed up on Spotify was the read and a podcast I didn't even listen to. I was just sampling some church that has a podcast, and I didn't even listen to anything. It just shows that, you listen to these two podcasts all year. I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't really. And for the most part, the read mostly was listened to on Apple Podcasts, but a couple times Apple Podcasts wasn't updating fast enough, so I went to Spotify, so it was there.
Yeah.
So now I just download everything. Like each day I'll just see what's new, or I just switch over to music, which does make it a bit easier. Like, I'm done listening to people talk, I want to listen to some music. So everything is all nice and neat. Parcast, shout out to them, because I think they're pretty much just trying to take over the podcast world, and they find themes and will make entire series out of it. Because right now, The Dark Side Of is one of the podcasts on Parcast. And right now they're doing the Dark Side of Holidays. And they've gone through all the holidays and all the dark things that have happened around them. Like, I've actually learned the origin of Black Friday, which
is it gross and scary?
Not really. It was actually pretty violent. Like, things weren't good. It has nothing to do with stores
Like
being the
shopping.
black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does have to do with shopping because people were just kind of getting a little crazy and rambunctious, I think, if I remember. And I want to go back to what you were talking about before about there being so much content and the fear of missing out on things, where on the flip side, I consume as much as I can. But the downside to that is I don't necessarily remember everything that I consumed. So there's a little bit of that. Like I'll say, oh yeah, I've seen it. I couldn't tell you much about it at this point because I saw it. And
So
if it doesn't have a lasting effect or something that I can really grab on. Favorite saying is from Men in Black, like trying to place a handle on a moment. I'm misquoting it, but searching for a handle on a moment. Yeah. And if there's not a handle that I can hold on to and hang on to, then that was fleeting. So that is why, again, other than me bringing it up for the purpose of a joke at this point, that I forgot that I saw Charlie's Angels. Because there wasn't really a handle for me to hold on to in that moment because there was nothing that significant about the movie for me to hold on to. So as Endgame, there was a whole emotion attached to that. The fact that I nearly cried at the very end. And it's just everything that movie represents. That's a pretty big handle. So I'm able to really hold on to that for like the rest of the year. Like, oh, wow, yeah, Endgame. Oh, man. And it brings back so many emotions. I remember where I was, what I was eating, probably what I was wearing. Maybe not. I don't know. But but yeah, there's definitely handles throughout the year I'm able to hold on to that, more so the events. I forgot what I was leading to or where that came from. But it's all just to say Spotify has everything. So we're on Spotify. So hopefully you could be listening over there as long as you're listening somewhere. I know this is on PodBean right now. So that's also awesome. We may be doing this again. Shout out to all the people that listened or stopped by and listened for a little bit. Ashley hung out with us the entire time, so thank you, Ashley. And then all the people that will listen to this later, I don't know if it's going to go straight to the rest of the streams, either like tomorrow, or if not, then I will make sure that it's out there next week when it's normally released. So, which would actually be Christmas Day. So I don't know who's listening to the podcast on Christmas Day, but power to you. So since I didn't ads, I'm going to do them really, really quickly. To get free wine, a free box of wine, go to j.mp/wink, WINC in Doob, all one word. To get, I think, maybe $25 in your account to start. To use Acorns, go to j.mp/acorns in Doob. And I believe if you want to get $50 to start using Stash, which is like an investment, both of these two are investment apps. They're very good. Also good for saving. I've been using that for savings for both of these apps. So I'll see, where's my money going? I was like, oh, I'm saving it and I'm investing.
Yeah.
So j.mp/stash and Doob. And you can join, and it does kick back some money to me as well, but it's also just a good way to start the year, having another account just to throw some money in. And before you know it, like Acorns, I actually amassed over $50 in like less than a month.
Yeah,
and without even really realizing it.
Yeah,
you
don't miss it.
You don't miss it. And it actually came in handy because I ran out of money for briefly for something. I'm like, ooh, I have some Acorns here. So I was able to use that. Same thing with Stash. That adds up pretty quickly, and then you're able to choose what you want to invest in. So that's pretty cool. And even Cash App allows you to do some investing too. So I decided to invest a little bit of money, like $1 into Disney, since they already own a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do or that I like. So why not? So that's all I have so far for those. Also, TeePublic, this is the last day that they will have a sale for this year. So get on that. I know I definitely will be a little bit later because I need to order some things. I will have some new designs next year. I'm trying to work on a whole school or university theme. So I'll be coming out with some new designs for the Indoob like emblem. So that's what I'm working on. I'm workshopping it as we speak. And like I said, Patreon, make sure you are subscribed to that. And I think that's all that I have. Do you have any shout outs or anything?
Nope. Just follow me on the Twitters at IamKHinton.
Okay. All right. And my outro I'm going to have to rewrite pretty soon because I have to include the Facebook page. But follow me at all things at Indoob, or like I said, Facebook at IndooBPod, and go to Indoob.com to find the TeePublic store for merch and Patreon support and get perks. Ask us questions by emailing IndooBpod@gmail.com. Please rate, comment, and share the pod at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, PodBean, and wherever pods are located. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. Tell someone you value that you value them. Live without regrets and live for the folks you love. It's been a great 2019, but please continue to wash your legs, your face, bottoms of your feet, the undersides of your dishes. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't, we'd all fall off. The Indoob Podcast is recorded in a studio somewhere on planet Earth. The Indoob Podcast is part of the Indoob Network. And if you'd like to get in contact with the Indoob Podcast, please email indoobpod@gmail.com. That is indoobpod@gmail.com. You can find the Indoob Podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course, PodBean, or wherever podcasts may be procured. If you'd like to find out more information, please visit indoob.com, where you can find our store, the blog, and of course, our Patreon, if you'd like to support and donate and find more perks and fun things to listen to and watch. For Chief, DJ Joe Daddy, Bilford, this is T. Sterling Watson signing off. Thank you so much for listening. Use your words, Chief. Good boy. This has been another 3SFX production.